Good morning, afternoon, or evening, I guess, depending on when you're actually watching this video. But this is Eric with low VA rates, and today we are talking about FICO credit score requirements for a VA home loan. Very interesting topic, one that we are asked about all the time. The search engines are full of people searching on this topic, so we hope you find this video educational, interesting, and ultimately give us a call, chat with us online, shoot us an email, get a hold of us if you have additional questions after watching this video. Let's just get right to the point. The Department of Veterans Affairs, as far as their home loan division is concerned, their lending division, there is no VA minimum FICO score requirement or rule. Now, we've mentioned in other videos, the VA itself does not lend money. The VA itself is not a mortgage company or a bank. They work with lenders, okay? Lenders that are approved to do VA mortgages, like low VA rates. But the VA does have an influence and impact on setting up the guidelines under which VA mortgage lenders have to offer loans to the military or to veterans. And I will tell you, in the entire lender's handbook that the VA publishes, there is no mention in any of the chapters of a minimum FICO score or some sort of a rule that you need to have a certain credit score to buy a house or a certain credit score to refinance. It just doesn't exist. So why do some VA mortgage lenders have a rule requiring a minimum FICO or credit score? We're going to talk about that. Well, I already went forward, but let me explain to you why some lenders do. Because lenders like low VA rates, and we're going to tell you here in just a second, keep watching what our rule is, but lenders are able to put overlays or additional restrictions on top of the guidelines created by the Department of Veterans Affairs. So, if a bank or a lender or a mortgage company decides we only want to lend to those individuals that have a stellar credit, and therefore we are going to require 700 FICO score or higher, they have every right to do that. A lender can also say, we're only going to do home loans for people with bad credit. And if you have over a certain credit score, we're not going to do a loan for you. Now, that obviously doesn't make a lot of logical sense, but ultimately, VA mortgage lenders can set their own additional restrictions as long as they're complying with the underlying rules the VA has. And so what we've seen nationwide, the majority of VA mortgage lenders out there will not do a VA home loan for anyone that has less than a 640 FICO score. Some will go down to 620, but here at low VA rates, what is our rule? Same as the VA. We have no minimum FICO score requirement. Doesn't exist, okay? That does not mean that every single person that calls up low VA rates or contacts us is going to be approved. But what it does mean is, when your credit is finally pulled, if we see a 550 credit score and you're trying to get a home loan, we're not going to immediately tell you no. That's not how it works here, because we do not make decisions based on the FICO score. Now, this rule is the same whether you're trying to buy a house or refinance a VA home loan. Some people might have certain requirements for new home purchase and other requirements for a VA home loan. It does not matter what VA loan program you are trying to get. At low VA rates, we will not consider your FICO score solely when trying to approve your loan. Now, how will we decide if we're going to approve your loan? Well, as I mentioned, if it's not by FICO, it has to be by something. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to review the overall credit history and the overall credit profile of the borrowers on the loan. So if you're a single veteran, then it would just be you. If you're a married veteran or you're doing a or a joint loan with another veteran, we're going to look at all of the parties on the loan. And we're going to look at their credit history and overall profile. Now, there is going to be a big focus on the most recent 2 years. That does not mean that things that happened 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago don't come into consideration. But imagine you just got out of college, you started a new job, you wrecked your car, and things happened and you got behind on your bills when you were younger. But since then, you've really tried your hardest to clean things up. And over the last 2 years, we've seen a real change in your behavior, your financial behavior, and your credit history. We will always be focusing more on the most recent 2 years as opposed to the past. Now, the past, it stays with us as this little picture over here. History repeats itself. Not always, but I thought it was a cool picture for what we're getting at here. Your credit history and profile will paint a much more important picture to an underwriter deciding whether or not to give you or approve you for a VA home loan, to buy a house, or to refinance with bad credit. They're going to look at everything. So when we look at a credit report, we're trying to determine how likely are you to pay your bills. Now, if you've got 2 credit cards that you pay on time every single month, there's no 30, 60, or 90-day lates, they're paid on time, they're not past due, that's awesome. If you, of course, have a current mortgage that you're trying to refinance and you have never been late on that mortgage, or else it's been, a year or 2 since you've been late on that mortgage, we can start making some assumptions on how likely you are to pay your bills based on your credit report and your profile. Now, collections are a part of life. I've seen people with 700 FICO scores and they still have open collections, or at least they had some collections that maybe they paid. I've seen people with 580 FICO scores who have had no collections. But the fact of the matter is the collections in and of themselves don't necessarily paint an entire picture, but they are part of your profile. It's important if you have open collections that are recent, you get those paid. Or you start paying them if you can work on a payment plan with the person or the company that you owe money to. But we're going to probably ask for some explanations. That is a standard part of getting approved when you have less than perfect credit or bad credit. You're going to have to explain why those collections are there and why you haven't paid them. Now, bankruptcy and foreclosure certainly is part of your credit history. It paints a certain profile for you. If it was 7 years ago, it's probably not going to be an issue at all. If it were just 2 to 3 years ago, that could become an issue. You've got to let enough time go by after falling victim, if you will, to hard financial problems. Once you're back on your own 2 feet, you've got to reestablish yourself as someone that can pay those bills on time. Doesn't mean you have to have a good credit score, but we want to see some time. Now, life events happen. That's where this letter of explanation, where we say you may have to explain why. You may be asked by your loan officer or a processor or even an underwriter, explain to me, ma'am, or explain to me, sir. I see this car got repossessed back in 2014. Yes, that was 3 years ago, but what happened? If there were injuries, and then you can back that up with some medical bills that you were paying or some insurance claims, we want to give every single person that applies for a loan a loan. You earned it with your honorable military service. However, we still have to make sure that you're not getting into a mortgage that's going to put you into a tough situation. We've got to protect the Department of Veterans Affairs. They're guaranteeing a certain portion of your mortgage, the taxpayer dollars involved here, and our own viability as a company. So we want to understand your entire situation. So what's possible? Well, the sky's the limit. Okay, the VA loan program is an amazing loan, and your FICO credit score does not need to hold you back from reaching the sky. Okay, we have lots of possibilities. Bad credit loans? Absolutely. We do them all the time here at low VA rates. That doesn't mean we do every single one. However, we do them. Loans for credit under 600? Yes, lots of them. 600 is a good score. See lots of people getting approved for loans with credit under a 600 FICO. How about loans for no credit FICO score at all? You literally have no credit score. There's a lot of banks that just won't do it. We certainly will. We're going to have to go look at rental history, maybe some utility bills you've been paying, some cell phone bills. we're going to try to figure out why don't you have credit history, because if you don't, how are we supposed to determine the likelihood that you're going to be able to pay your bills? But yes, of course, we can do them. I thank you for watching. Please don't let your FICO score alone keep you from trying to buy a house. If you're asking yourself what credit score is needed to buy a house or what credit score is needed to refinance, hopefully this video has helped you out and you can now answer, well, it doesn't come down to FICO or credit score. Give us a call. You can get us at lowvarates.com. You're already on our YouTube station, so please dial the number below in the text of this video, or you can call us at 866-569-8272.